hello there. It's Eldor, or the Masterversal-Toyhunter here. Yes, I was standing at the great eye of the universe, and I thought, why not make my own custom figure, for better or worse? Come with me, and let's see what things we can make with our creativity. Ooh, well, don't just stand there. Come on down. And so, with our tools and materials gathered, what figure shall we make with a little magic? Let's see. A bit of this. A bit of that.
Look out, He-Man.
And maybe some kick. Oh dear. And I think some of this will do the trick. Yes, sir. So, no matter if it's night or day, come rain or shine. I think it's a good day for some custom figure time. Indeed. Oh, hello there all. It's good to see quite a turnout in the chat there. And yes, welcome to my new segment of custom figure time there, where I will go through when I make all my custom action figures there and show you all the ins and outs and what I do and so forth. It's a bit of a nice creative segment there. And of course, speaking of creativity, we have a special guest there today who we're going to bring in, and we're going to talk about a creative, ingenious design he has been whipping up there. And also, to help me in the game there, as it were, we have Adam here from Vertical Toys.
Hey,
Good
everyone.
evening, sir.
How's everybody doing? How are you making out, Elder?
Yes, I'm doing rather good there. And
I've been kind of playing around here with some new stuff going on here from good old Travis. He's got this cool little invention called the Hexastack here that I've been kind of playing around with here that you can see. It's kind of neat.
Jolly good there. I see you're taking things to a new level there. So.
Yes, sir. Pretty neat.
Nicely displayed there indeed. So,
yes, sir.
Yes, we're going to see who's in the chat here first before we bring in our Mr. Wonderful guest there. And first up, we have a cobweb collector there. Good evening, sir.
Oh, good to see you.
Yes, we have a show indeed for everybody in there. Who's this fellow? Adam, Vertical Toys there. You're doing the two places at once. Game there, sir.
That's the power of magic.
And, yes, I see Rolando Flores has shown up there. Good evening, sir.
Good. Good to see you too.
Awesome. Eternial Lips there. Yes, he's joined in with us. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
There. And yes, while we're waiting for more to show up, let's bring in our special guest there. Travis, or as we may know him as Mr. Wonderful, creator of the Hexastack there.
Hey guys, thank you for
having
having me.
Hey,
thank
you.
It's an honor, sir.
I love the little magic trick there, Adam.
Yeah, I kind of just whipped that up for you. I thought that was kind of neat.
That's cool. Yeah, that was really cool. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for having me today, guys.
Travis, when you were a young lad, what did you think you were going to be when you'd all grown up there and so forth?
Oh man, when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be
idea or special plans.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a professional wrestler at one point. That's what the dream was. I thought I was going to be like the next Hulk Hogan or something like that.
Oh yes, getting the old ring there.
Exactly.
The fisticuffs.
Exactly.
The whole 9 rounds.
Yep.
So obviously things changed there for you over time, from aspiring to battle in the great arena there with all the Earthling gladiators and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
what else led you down the different path there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Tell us about yourself there, sir.
Yeah, so I've been a collector. I'd say I've been a collector of action figures my entire life. Going back to being a kid, playing with the different, Marvel figures and the old WWF action figures, and there
Yes.
was obviously a little bit of a time period there where I was in my late teens where I kind of deviated away from it. I wasn't buying so much anymore, and I play from time to time. But then, I didn't really get back into it until my son was about 3. And when he was 3
Yes.
or so, we started collecting action figures a lot more. And, I kind of still stayed in my wheelhouse. I stuck to just collecting the wrestling action figures, as that's what I enjoyed pretending and playing with my son with. And,
Yes.
he got into we got really big into the Marvel world. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe was big, and that was, Iron Man was coming up when he was little. So we were watching those, and the original Spider-Man trilogy. So we got into a lot of Marvel action figures with him, and he really kind of stayed in his lane and collected Marvel figures, and I stayed in my lane and collected the wrestling action figures. And then
Yes.
and then I had my second son.
I see that the
Yeah.
spark of wrestling still remains there, even though you never ended up fighting and whatever.
Yeah.
The
No,
real arena.
definitely still remains as a passion of mine. It's something I enjoy, but I'm definitely a nerd or a geek, however you want to say it, and still have my joys of wrestling, and comics has always been something that's been central to me. So,
Well,
when
yes.
we had a daughter, she wasn't into toys like I am. She's a teenager now. She's not really a action figure. She never really got into that. But then we have my youngest son who's going on 12 now, and he still plays with toys. He still has some and collects things. More collecting than playing, but he still has them. And he got into the Power Ranger Lightning figures. He'll collect a handful
I see
of
that.
Marvel Legends. He's a big fan of Loki, so we've got every one of the Loki Marvel Legends that's
Oh,
existed.
bit of a troublemaker there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
While
good.
your daughter sounds like she turned out more civilized.
Yes, she's not. She doesn't have the plastic addiction the rest of us have. So
Indeed.
the youngest got into the Star Wars Black Series stuff. He started getting to mostly 6-inch scale. Folks have asked me, oh, like, is there something from your past childhood that you'd want to have again? And I honestly, I don't collect the older toys anymore. Something about the limited articulation and thing, it just doesn't, it doesn't do it for me anymore. The nostalgia of the IPs always interest me, but for the most part, I stick to the 6-inch figures, which when Classifieds came out, that really pulled me in, because then it was a deep dive into the Valaverse, which I found as a suitable, intermingling with the Classifieds, and really could stand on its own at this point. But the Classifieds and then Valaverse, and then Valaverse led me down the rabbit hole of the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom and Savage Crucible, which then, because of the fact that I love the Animal Warrior of the Kingdom so much, it's like one of my biggest collections right now. And I'm very active with that. I wanted other things that could, work with it, because they're a little bigger than your standard 6-inch scale. They're more in line with like almost 7-inch. So
Right.
they work really good with the Masterverse series. So I was a He-Man fan when I was a kid. I still remember that, live action movie from the late 80s, early 90s, whenever it was that it came out when I was a young kid. And, I enjoyed that. But, now I'm not, I know they had a recent cartoon on Netflix and stuff. I haven't watched them, other than, in passing with my youngest son, but, we grab some of the Masterverse stuff now to kind of intermingle with our AWOCs, because they fit so perfectly with them, and gives us
Yes,
that,
the
human
creatures are
character.
fitting with that world, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. So they work really well together.
Right.
So, that's really where I've gotten to with my collection. Really looking forward to the next series of AWOC, and also the, the Savage Crucible line once that comes out. So it's kind of how I've gotten into the collecting, state, and really dug in. And one of the things I found is through that, venturing beyond just, a singular line or two, is that my collection has grown. As you can see in the corner there is stuff
Yes.
stacked up by the windows. My wife is furious of it, and on the floor there's boxes of things I haven't even opened yet. And
we all had that monkey on our back, sir.
Yes,
and indeed, with everything mounting up there, it's hard to see what's behind the crowd there.
Exactly.
So yes, tell us what led you in the direction to sorting all that display out there.
Yeah, so with that, wanting to clean it up a little bit with my son's getting older and not necessarily playing with the figures so much anymore and more, collecting just for the fact that, hey, I want to continue my collection. It's no longer about reading the comic as much as it's just making sure you have the next one in order. So, doing that with the action figure mentality and having every one of them, they just kind of get, they get out plastic, then they get thrown in a bin and then getting stuck there. So what I've done is I've come up with this design to display the action figures, in a tiered space, because that's one of the things that I'm hesitant. I don't want to just put them, on a stand or a shelf where they're all linear and they're all even height and you can't see what's behind them. So I came up with this concept of having the tiered, hexagon shaped, modular system that can be really designed to meet any need. So like Ted said, who's back to Hexastack? 50 days left. So, I came up with this concept and decided to move it forward and, launched a Kickstarter just over a week ago.
Okay.
And yes, so we have that Kickstarter there handy. So let's have a look there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and recently I updated.
How's things going there, sir?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. Obviously I'd like to see us get, further along in the goal process in the pledges. But we're making progress. I've been on a few shows. I had some feedback earlier in the week from a show that I was on where they provided, some feedback on improving the overall, visuals and stuff. I've got a video that we're working on producing for a commercial, and I'm also working on some videos that I'm going to be spinning up on my own and putting on there just to show the, modularity, the magnetic strength of the units connecting together. So you'll see those come in over the course of the next few days. But the progress is going well. I mean, I know there's a lot of folks out there that want it. I also recognize that with the current state of crowdfunding stuff, there's been quite a bit activity that's gone on. Obviously, there's the GI Joe crowdfunding that just ended yesterday. There's San Diego Comic-Con this week. I'm hoping once that kind of sets back and people are able to no longer have that next big Kickstarter, I'm sorry, the funding or the con right in front of them, they can start getting in there and backing the Kickstarter for us. And a quick change is just so you guys are aware, is that you can get right to this link if you just go to www.hexa-stack.com. So that'll take you right to the Kickstarter. You can find it real quick with a simple link. You can also find me on Instagram, and I'm always posting videos every day, photos, videos, that type of stuff to show the product and kind of speak to where we're at in the progress. Currently, right now there's no like kind of originally I was going to make some of the things unlocks, because within the stands, it comes in many different ways, right? So you have a 1/2-inch stand, a 1-inch, a 2-inch, a 3-inch stand. One of the things I just did was with a 3-inch stand, and I actually just printed these, so they're actually still wet and haven't been cured. But on the 3-inch stand here, you can see there's a wide open hole here on that stand. It's about 30% larger than it previously was. So you'll be able to actually store even more. Oh, thank you. Hold on a second. I'll do this. So you can see that's a pretty large space there.
Yes.
That is gap. And that's going to be a drawer that goes in and out. I don't have the new drawer printed for it because I just printed these this morning. So I just ran off the new model. The other day I was doing some looks and stuff, and I didn't like the space. I didn't like that the space was limiting. I found that I was having a hard time fitting some of my AWOC additional heads into the unit. So what I did was I made it about 30% larger of a capacity for the stand. It doesn't change the way the 3-inch stand works. It works exactly the same as it always has been and always will. It just opened up the guts a little bit more and gives you more capacity to store some larger models and accessories in there. But that's one of the big things is the 3-inch stand has that storage, so you can keep your figures stored right in there. And you can see here, right? This is kind of a a picture of what the one of the starter kits will look like, right? It's not exactly, but the back row is the tallest one is your 3-inch. Then you have a couple 2 inches there, or sorry, you have a 2-inch one right next to it. You got a few 1/2 inches down at the lower end, and then you have the 1-inch stands kind of off to the sides. And you can see the silver magnets on this visual because these were original prototypes. On the newer, on the final product, you won't see the magnets. They're all going to be colored the same color as the stands. So if you got a black stand, they're going to be covered in black, so you won't see them. You can also see at the top there's the hexagonal shapes. Those are removable pegs, and even those images are a little outdated because I've improved the functionality. Originally, it was just going to be a replaceable. It was just going to kind of be a replaceable peg.
So these ports here, were they to put the, as you say, the replaceable peg units in there?
Exactly. Yep. The foot pegs.
As you know, not all the foot pegs are the same, I suppose.
Exactly. That's what I found as I started getting into all of these figures, and not one stand is going to work for everything. So I said, nobody's come up with one stand that works for everything. So let me be the one that comes up with the stand that works for everything. So, that hexagonal shape on top, there's 2 of them. Inset on those is each has a magnet. So then any kind of foot peg or future accessory that we come up with will actually be able to go in and be in there. And that's one of the things about this, right now, if you look at the Kickstarter, you'll see that it has the 4 different size stands. There's also the unique textured stands on the 1/2 inches. So you've got about 7 products there. You also have the card display if you're looking to use that. So that brings you up to 8. And then you have the flight stand, and then the front name panel. Yeah, if you scroll down, you can kind of see most of them, I think. So there's a stand where it's kind of configured. But if you scroll down here, I have all the accessories down towards the bottom, I think.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you about, was the flight stand. How's that one going to work? Is it just going to peg into one of those pegs, and then it just
exactly? Yep. And I've been working with a number of prints on here. I'm fine tuning some things. There's some things I have liked, haven't liked. So like these images, they're not final, right? Like the 3-inch stand, right? I gutted it a little bit more, made it bigger. At the end of the day, I'm not cutting back on anything for anyone. Anything that you see in these images, any changes I make based on what's here, it's strictly going to be an improvement for the product. So I've run off a number of prints on this, had some that I was happy with, some tweaks I might be making. As you can see here, I was using, if you scroll back up real quick.
The texture there.
Yeah. Yep. So on these pegs.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that, if you had any thoughts of possibly incorporating different textures, maybe cobblestones or bricks or.
Yep. And if you scroll down, you'll see that. Yep, you'll see that there's the basic plain stands that are by default, and then you have the wooden. You have the cracked stone texture. For something, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm also working on some additional ones, but really what I was trying to highlight here, you have the brick. Is that in this initial Kickstarter, I have about 9 to 10 items. Originally, I was going to put the textured 1/2-inch plates, 1/2-inch stands. I was going to put those as stretch goals, and then I said, you know what, I don't care. I'm not looking to make any stretch goals. I want to get this product out to people. I'm going to list everything that I've come up with at this time, and that's what I did. I had some extra
I suppose
ideas.
You might be looking to go to all the different cons there in due course. Perhaps have a few of them displayed around there, as they usually do there.
Sorry, what was that? I'm sorry.
Do you have plans to have like a booth set up at a con in the future?
Oh yeah,
near future there. And,
speaking of a con,
as I usually do with all these new things.
Yeah, I will be at PowerCon this year, so okay. I do have a booth. I do have a booth at PowerCon this year, so I will be there representing.
Hexastack. You're well ahead of me there, sir.
Yeah, no, I did. I bounced the idea off a few people, the whole product and stuff, before I went to the Kickstarter, and I had a close family member say, who's not in the know on toys, but is in the know on other products, and was like, if you're not at the cons, you're not going to get this out in front of the right people. So as soon as he said that, I was like, man, my 20-year wedding anniversary is on the 16th of August, and I don't know how I sell it to my wife. Exactly. I don't know how I sell to my wife that the weekend before our anniversary, I'm going to be taking, a trip to Ohio. So I'm packing her and my 2 younger kids up, and we're all going to take a trip out to Ohio. I'm going to work PowerCon while they kind of explore the area. So I'll be there, and I'll have a ton of product to show. I've got 6 cases that I'll have displays. I'm finalizing who's going to be in the roster of displays. There'll definitely be an AWOC, a Valaverse. There'll be some Marvel Legend displays. There'll be a hodgepodge display where I just don't have figures of a ton of specific lines. There'll be some He-Man guys there, just showing the different versatility of what you can do with each of these stands.
Speaking of versatility, there, I see you have a card stand there. So
yep.
You can have the same option there with the action figures, but with your cards there and what have you.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So for sports cards and things like that, or if you're a collector who has, maybe one of those 90s, or maybe you have a sports card, the sports card style Marvel cards, or some other ID.
That would be a good idea if you were a Marvel Legends collector and you had some Marvel cards to display with it. That would be perfect.
I don't have any of mine from the 90s, but I am actively bidding on some on eBay
I wish I had mine.
I'm bidding on some right now that will go with one of my displays that I plan to have. I'm trying to do a retro 90s X-Men, like from the old school X-Men.
Yeah.
I've got, thanks to, if you don't mind me, do you mind me giving a little shout out real quick?
Oh, not at all, sir.
I've got, these things. I've got these, I've got the X-Men from the 90s style here. More importantly, I got the one that I got from Hella Dope Toys, my retro Wolverine here. So I'll have the whole yellow and blue stand. That's what I'm planning for the con.
And indeed, we have Ted Darkhold there from Hella Dope Toys.
Yep.
He's popped in the chat and waved to him.
So I'll have a number of displays there. I'm trying to get some X-Men cards so that I can display a couple cards next to the stand. With that, kind of having Rogue hanging out in the background on one of the flight stands. So that's the plan there. So in the initial offering, I had all these things, didn't do any stretch goals, but I'm actively working on some stretch goals. You have the magnetic nameplate. So on this one, that has a single magnet on the bottom. This doesn't go into the foot pegs, but if you remember looking at some of the other images here, and you can kind of see it on my camera here for those that are looking, there's like a magnet by my pointer finger here. There's a magnet hole right there. And that is used because there's one on the bottom. So when you're magnetizing your stacks together, it gives them more solidity, more, not solidity. That's not even a word. It brings it, makes it more solid and keeps them in place.
Keeps it in place there. Yes.
Exactly. But, the one on top isn't always being used. So the idea is that there's some other things we can do with it. So an example is that magnetic nameplate. That magnet sits right on there and the magnet goes in. Magnet on the bottom of the nameplate sits right there. So if you had something you wanted to display, you have that opportunity also. A lot of versatility with the whole line, right? I refer to it as an accessory line because it's not a line, it's not a toy line. It's an and it's not a single accessory. It's an accessory line. So I didn't do any stretch goals, but I am actively working on prototyping out a few items that may be stretch goals if I start to see us get there. And they're really cool. They're really cool. They're probably the biggest items I've offered beyond just the core 4 stands. And they're really cool because they don't only use the stands, but I can just kind of hint to the fact that what they will do because of the, ability to remove these pegs, the stretch goal items that I'm looking to potentially have is going to allow you to remove the peg not only from this Hexastack stand, but also from the main unit, like the stretch goal item. So that way you can use it with the Hexastack or use it off in a diorama somewhere else if you chose to do so.
Right.
So you're not limited to having
do these magnets go all the way around?
That's what I was going to ask.
Bases of these stand pieces there.
So for the
I was wondering, you could also, if you get far enough there, you could build a bit of a backdrop texture there, and have the little
Yeah.
magnets along the bottom, and
So
lock everything together there, as it were.
Yep, absolutely, and that's exactly. I love. So that's the thing, right? It's what I refer to as Hexastack is limitless, right? Because I can really put in front of, because of the magnets, because of the removable components, because of the structure and the way it interlocks with itself. There are so many things that we can do. I've only scratched the surface of what Hexastack as an accessory line can offer collectors. Things like you're saying.
I hadn't seen all this stuff here, like your name card holder there, or the card holders. Indeed, and I was wondering if you had a flight stand idea, and yes, you've got it up there, I see.
Yep. Those are all, and all those are available. That's what it is, right? It's limitless, and it's not just this. Another YouTuber I was on recently, Punk with Toys, he said that he said it's not just a stand, right? That's what he kept saying, is it's not just a stand, and that's the key. Hexastack is not just a stand. I want this to be a product line, accessory line that can be used in so many versatile methods that it's not limited to just toys. Obviously, its core market and target is to be there for me and my action figures. When I get my white stands that I have, my white shelves that I have from IKEA, and they're above, my printer area over here above my head, all my stands are going to be going up. You're going to see all my wrestling figures. You're going to see all my AWOCs on another one. And I want to be able to display them clean. I've got other things, I collect things, but yes, toys are my main focus. So I want to be able to give people an opportunity to use something that's got so much versatility, but then at its core be, also priced right. Like, that's the big thing for me. I have a full-time job that I work and I love, and I don't ever plan to leave. Don't
sell yourself short there, sir.
Well, that said, I'm not saying I wouldn't if this takes off like I think it could, and I think it has the potential to. I'm definitely investing the time and energy into it. I spent quite a bit of money self-funding this already to get the patents in place, and just the general business up and running, and to be able to produce this stuff all my own. I'm already in touch with. I've already spoke directly to one project manager that can do these at a injection mold level in the future, and that's my long-term goal. And I've also had, as recently as one of the calls I was on last week with Mega J Retro, they had Ace from Ramen Toys who expressed interest in talking to me. So, he and I've already talked on the side a little bit too. And, we're going to meet up at PowerCon.
Ace is an excellent fellow there. He's rather talented, just like you are there, sir.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm trying to partner with great people in the community to bring a price and bring a product to market that is priced fairly for consumers, because, and I've said this probably on every show, is that these are an accessory. I know if I'm at a store and I'm looking at a package of these stands and I'm looking at an action figure, I'm probably going to buy the action figure. Right. But if there's, if I'm looking to spruce up my shelves over time and I've got everything that I want right now for figures, I'm looking to upgrade it to make it look good. And that's what Hexastack does, right? It gives you the ability to really spice up your stands, your displays. If you're someone who's displaying it, in more of that display manner like you see on my screen, though with the textured stands and some of those additional things that are yet to come, like you were saying, Eldar, having a front plate that can go on, already kind of mocked up a rough design for it. But that idea, great. Yeah, Kaba. I'm not quite sure I'm giving away my razor, dude. Like, I'm a huge Shawn Michaels guy, but razor's right there for me, man. So yeah. But
good evening there, Skyfall, sir.
Chico.
But my goal is to just, produce a product that people are happy with and they could use, and it's, beneficial. But as I was saying, is like, it's perfect for the stands right out the gate. It's perfect for what you see on the screen right now. You can display them. You have that tiered approach. You can have some shorter guys in the back, taller guys in the back, however you want. But additionally, that direction that I have those textures, or possibly the front plate textures, they're going to parlay themselves into allowing you to be able to, put them in dioramas, right? And integrate them in there seamlessly. And, in a perfect world, I hope to someday partner with someone who's, making a game, because, these Hexastacks can make for some really cool game board pieces if you're looking to, I plan to take my Hexastack, take some textured ones And when I get my Animal Warriors of the Kingdom board game, I plan to use these as my board and see how that works and kind of play around with it like that. So, I think the options are, endless for how far Hexastack can go. I just need folks to back
and your
it.
system is very versatile there.
Yeah.
You can arrange it in many different ways there. I mean, there are other systems there, but are somewhat limited. You just some of them are round bases or square bases, and you can buy step display pieces there, but you can't really separate them unless you have separate ones or something. But
and that's
so much you can do with a Hexastack there.
I think that's the key with the Hexastack. It takes a lot of good things from the genre of stands, and it takes all of the best parts of it and then adds magnets to it. So, there's other ones out there where they have, 3-tier systems, that are, solidified like this, but you can't take it apart. They're all 3 stuck together. So sorry, you could find ones and there's like 3 of them together, and that works great for that limited usage. But you run into a situation where, well, what if I want to display them all on top of each other? Well, they don't interlock. So by having the magnets, the replaceable pegs, the interlocking mechanisms, underneath, the way it's beveled out around the tops and bottoms so that you can truly stack on one another and grow from there. I've got them in stacks of 25.
You do have the freedom to raise the levels up and down. Will, I suppose.
Exactly.
So for people that are backing this up, can you tell us what is all included? What do you get?
Yeah, so I recommend if you're looking at backing the Hexastack and you're not sure, so if you're all in, go all in. Get the all in pack and get the early backer all in pack, because it's it's going to give you 20 total pieces. You're gonna get 10 of each of the. Or I'm sorry, I have to look at the number. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I speak to it right. Sorry.
Right.
I want to make sure my counts are correct. Sorry. So on here, if you're all in and you believe in it and you've got a ton of figures, you go in with the all in. You're gonna get 10 of each stand times 2, right? So you're gonna get I'm sorry, you're gonna get 10 of each stand. So it's basically the oh yeah pack. Times 2, right? So the oh yeah pack is 5 of each stand, and it comes with the it comes with all the pegs for it, and that gives you 5 half-inch, 5 1-inch, 5 2-inch, 5 3-inch stands. It includes the drawers for the 3-inch stand. That's always part of it, and it also comes with your preference of foot pegs. And then that's the oh yeah pack, and the all-in pack is, it's double the oh yeah. So you get everything you get in the oh yeah pack there, plus, times 2, but you additionally get five flight stands in it also. So that's going to get you your flight stands packaged into it. What I would say though,
so that's good if you have multiple flying superheroes there.
Exactly. Yep. Or multiple different kind of like setups, right? If you have different shelves and you want to have different things going on in each shelf. But I always point to people to the starter pack. The starter pack is a really good entry point to the system. It lets you get a feel for what you are, interested in. I don't want anybody to overbuy and then not be satisfied. I would much rather have you, go in with a Hexastack starter pack. That's really what I started with. We're doing an early backer pricing right now for $25. The first 30 people who back the early starter pack, the early backer for that, they can get that for $25. If you don't get in there for the early backer, it only jumps up to $30. So you'll be able to get that $30 for for moving forward within the Kickstarter. Once it's in retail outside of the Kickstarter, it will be a little bit more money. I'm really just trying to get this out to people,
of course,
at a very minimal, I'm making almost nothing off all of the work that's going into this. Any proceeds that I get from the Kickstarter are all getting rolled into the molds that I want to do to have produced at a grander level.
Do you have an idea of what this would cost at retail if when it comes? Like, do you have a rough idea of
I do. For the let me go get my sheet up here real quick. So for just the starter pack, if you were going to get the starter pack once it hits retail, and I'm no longer selling it through, it's going to be shooting at around $40, give or take. And that's it's not too much more, right? I'm still trying to keep it fair. I'm still trying to keep it priced down. I'm not looking, to get anyone over. and it comes with 6 stands. And I would say there's other stands out there. Go out there in the market and you can see other stands that are out there. And the ones that are out there are not resin built. They don't contain the magnets, and the magnets add price. They don't offer the they're not the seamless resin. And if, for those that are familiar with 3D printing, there's FDM, which has the lines, and you can see those. There's some printers that do better, and I'm sure some are better than others. And then there's the resin printing, which it's not bulletproof for not seeing any lines, but it's pretty darn close. And you see very minimal printed lines on those resins. So
that's where I suppose injection molding there can get rid of that, but also speeds up
exactly. And if
just 3D printing.
And if we get to the point where I can get, and my goal from early on, as soon as somebody said, "Hey, would you like to talk to someone who's got factory pricing?" And I said, "Yeah, let me take a look." So as soon as I had that opportunity presented to me, it kind of opened my eyes wide. Like, this doesn't have to just be something I do in house. And I was having some hard times getting in touch with those folks just because the schedules were difficult. So I didn't want to delay the Kickstarter anymore. So I went forward with the Kickstarter, doing it in-house, because there's so many mold types that I'm doing for the initial release, with the textures, the different sizes, things like that. It allows me to be more creative and customize it to that initial offering, and then hopefully generate enough funds to be able to roll those funds back into the overall Hexastack brand, which is going to be to get all my molds built. And then I also have an outside investor who's been nagging me, a personal friend who's been nagging me to invest in the company, which I'm open to. If the Kickstarter goes well, if there's a point where I'm at, like, I need X dollars to get myself across the line to be able to get the factory pricing and the factory orders in place with the molds. And if I can do that, I know I have the funds. It's going to happen. It's not an if, it's a when. And when this Kickstarter backs all the way and I have some money after that, I'm going to roll it forward and, build out this product line. I have a spreadsheet list long. I have files I've already started, stuff I put on hold. So there's a lot of stuff in front of me that, I want to get produced. That's going to, things like gun racks, additional storage, top cat flats. Like, there's a lot of.
So that can play into your whole accessories there. Well, like we mentioned there.
Exactly.
Bar mentioned card stands and
exactly
stands.
I mean, at its core, I don't see myself expanding beyond the 4 stand sizes, like height wise. It just doesn't make sense.
You would need multiple molds there, especially if you're going to the textured stands.
Well, so for the textured ones, I at this point right now, we're only offering the texture in the 1/2-inch stands, because even if you have a 1-inch stand and you have a textured 1/2-inch stand and you want to make that 1-inch stand a textured, it becomes a 1.5. But because they're interlocking, you can put that textured one on top, and now what everybody sees is the textured version rather than the standard version. These are standard, but just the concept allows it. So currently they're only offering the templates or the textured stands in the 1/2-inch. Could change based on the factory and such. But going back to the starter pack, I don't think I mentioned what comes in it. There's 6 stands that come in the starter pack, and the 6 stands are, just to make sure I speak to it correctly, it's 2 1/2-inch stands. So you're going to get 2 of these. You're going to get 2 of these stands here that I have in my hands right here. You're going to get 2 1-inch stands. So you'll get 2 1/2-inch stands. So you get your basic, initial stand. You get 2 of those. You're going to get 2 1-inch stands. And this comes with all the connections and everything. And then you're also going to get one of the little beefy blocks. This is a 2-inch stand. So you're going to, you've already got these 4. Now you're going to get your 2-inch stand also. And then you're also going to get the monster, which is your, 3-inch with the big opening and the drawer that goes in and out of it. Yep. So, you're going to get those.
That's useful there, because as you know,
How does the flight stand come into play with this? Is this something that comes later?
You get to the. Oh, sorry, Adam. Carry on there.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to know more about the flight stand. When does that come into play? Is that something that comes out a little bit later, or is that included in the initial Kickstarter, or no?
So it's part of the Kickstarter, but you have to back something. There's essentially there's 3 packages that you have to choose to back from. So you have to choose from a starter pack, an oh yeah pack, or an all-in pack.
Right.
The starter pack is that 6-pack stand that I just talked. The 6-pack that I just talked about. Which again, it comes with each one it comes with those 6 stands I just showed, and it comes with the foot pegs of your choice, and then you have the oh yeah pack, which is 5 of each of the types of stands, so you get even 5 across the board, and it comes with the foot pegs of your choosing, and then you have the all in, which comes with 10. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. It comes with 10 of where is it? This bundle comes with 10 of each stand. So it's basically a double oh yeah. So you get the all-in pack, and it comes with 10 of each stand. So you're talking 40 stands, and you're gonna get 40. So you're gonna be able to build your display the way you want. And that comes with all of that plus 5 flight stands. Those are the packages you can pick from. But all of those items that Eldar was showing us on the screen before, the flight stand, the expansion packs for the wood textures, they come in 5 packs, and any of the other add-ons, you can add on to any one of your packs that you purchase, the original package that you purchase. So if you purchase the $25 early backer starter pack, you can add on any number of the other items you choose to do so.
Like going from the old KFC there, you want to add a bit of chicken or
exactly. Yep. So you can add the flight stands on now. The flight stands and those textured pattern ones, those are all available.
Yes, I believe there was a question that Ted had. So
okay, perfect.
I'll bring that back up there.
Yeah, Ted. Sorry, I didn't see that message. Yeah, you can go in and modify your backing if you'd like, and what you can do is add the other items that you want. So definitely check that out.
Good there.
And that won't change your early backer status. And if it does, let me know. I'll go in and make an adjustment, because that shouldn't impact you.
Yes, as I was going to say before, with a lot of these action figures, you get like you have choices with your Hexastack here. You also have choices with accessories, and sometimes you can't hang everything on them all at once. So you have to end up putting your extra accessories somewhere else, and then eventually losing them. And they're off.
Yeah.
So that's when that little draw pieces.
I'd highly recommend folks continue to pay attention to the Kickstarter, because as we continue to move forward, if my prototypes go well on my other items, you don't just have to store your figures in a box either, your accessories in a box either. So be ready. There's other things coming. If we can get this thing funded, and we can get a stretch goal in there, there's definitely some stretch goal options that I think will be extremely pleasing to many.
So I see the Kickstarter is doing rather well. You're over the $1,000 mark there, but usually with these things they take time, and then you eventually get the momentum before the end. But indeed you have to let people know what's going on there. That's why I thought it'd be a bit wise to have you on the channel here today.
Absolutely. No, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
People can see what you're bringing out there for options, because I see all the fellows in my group here in Eternia, and they're asking for ways they can or products rather they can buy to display their figures, and from using your baked bean tins and painting the black, and and all these other ideas. And so
can you pull me up on
Hexastack in there saying, "Oh, check this fellow out here. He's bringing something out."
Thank you, Elder. Do you mind pulling me up on the big screen just so I can show something? I think this piece is going to matter to a lot of folks that are, Masterverse collectors, and, folks that, collect the He-Man stuff, especially the retro stuff where they don't have peg holes. This, this stand here is a slide-in stand. So you'll notice that there's no peg. So no peg to go into the foot. So this allows you to, it goes right on into the stand, and you can slide the foot right into it. So this is an older model. The other ones are down in the
All
basement, or the workshop, as I'll refer to it, Pinocchio's workshop down there. But they're coming along, and what it'll do is it'll allow for that flexibility for folks that don't want to stick something in the foothole. You'll have the opportunity, like I said, we're offering a number of different options. Once the Kickstarter is over, every backer will get a survey. There's a couple things they're going to have to provide. One of those things is for each one of the packages you buy, you can select the type of foot pegs you want. So maybe for some of them, you want to use these universal foot peg, as I refer to it, or maybe you want one that's targeted towards working with the Vala, AWOC, Savage Crucible figures, or maybe it's the Masterverse He-Man, or maybe it's the Classifieds or the WWE Elites, or Ultimates, however, the Mattel figures, and that'll be part of the survey that folks are going to fill out once the Kickstarter backs and it's completed. So folks can pick the foot stands that work best for them. I assume a lot are going to go with the universal one, but I think some folks may just want to go with what they know. If you're a single line collector, you're going to be able to do that. What I will say is that for those that, and this is something that I've said since day one, is Hexastack isn't going to be a version 1 because I'm making it in the factory at home here, versus a factory that's injection molding and stuff. There's not version 1 versus 2. I will not do injection molding if it changes my product so it doesn't work with what was originally designed. And additionally, with that said, these pegs that folks are going to have, if you lose them, if you Lego step on one and it doesn't work anymore, and you need something else, or exactly, and you need something else. These, or let's use another example. If you're someone like me who originally just collected your wrestling elites, and you only needed one style foot peg, but you've now journeyed into a different line, or your wrestling figures have now been started to be produced by a different manufacturer, and you want to continue to grow your collection, but the foot pegs don't match. Well, I'm not random stand guy who only fits your mold. Now you don't have to buy the block. All you got to do is buy Yeah, you just got to buy a package of stands, buy a package of foot pegs, and looking at selling them right now. I've kind of bounced around the idea of a 12 pack of anywhere between a 10 and 12 pack of extra foot pegs. And the reason I say that is because that's how I bundle the stands already. They're in 5 packs for the individual types, and then they're in the starter pack of 12, right? So either a 10 or 12 pack, so that way you can pick the kind you want. You get all of those, there. And hey, if you have to rewipe your entire line, you only have to replace the pegs. You don't have to replace all the stands.
See, you mentioned a little while back there how the textured stands would go in well with diorama setups in there. And I thought with your peg holes in there, you can make things like say a lamp, street lamps, or as you're into your wrestling there, you can make ring posts there and have the ropes going around and so forth, and have your hexastacks in the middle there with your gladiators, if you will, all displayed in their different weights there, you might say.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very open to the consumer and what's needed, right? If I start, and that's the thing, there's a reason that I mainly promote on my own Instagram, which is the Mr. Wonderful on Instagram. So like the reason I promote mostly on there is because I want to be reachable by the community, because the product is for the community by someone within the community. I do have a Hexastack, Instagram, but that's just because I don't want somebody else taking the name and taking the Instagram profile on me. So
of course,
it's,
yes,
it's that, and it's some branding. But, for me, I'll always post for my own personal, because I want people to know that I'm reachable. And also, if somebody's like, man, I've got this massive collection of X, is there any way you can develop a foot peg for it? Yeah. Send me one of your X items and let me measure it out. I'll bust out my, I always forget what this tool's called.
Your calipers there?
Yeah. I'll bust this out. I'll start doing some measurements, and, I'll figure out what it takes to get a foot peg made for it. And then, if there's enough market that needs it, or a large enough individual order for it, we can talk and I can produce it. And that's the benefit of the modularity, universal configuration of these Hexastack, the removable pegs, makes it untouchable. With the magnets and the removable pegs, it's untouchable. There's nobody else that can touch it because it does everything, because it's limitless, because we can do whatever comes next. When the next toy line comes out that everybody's like, oh, I want that, but it doesn't fit on my stands. Well, it does if it's on Hexastack, because give me 6 weeks and I'll produce something that it works with.
Because so you're with your system here, there's so many ways you can evolve it, and it will still all work in to create a fantastic display. And
Exactly. Yeah, that's the goal. Trying to deliver something that has reusable, affordable pricing and adds to people's displays. And hopefully one of these days I'll have time to set up my own.
Coming up. Oh, sorry. Carry on this.
Oh no, I was just saying, and hopefully one day I'll have time to set up my own.
Yes, for sure. Well, it looks like we're almost coming up to the end of this segment, and yes, it's been a real pleasure having you on there, sir. And,
Thank you.
Telling us a little bit more about your display system there, and passing, as you said, you like to be in the community there, and when we're all passing around ideas and what have you, and how you can further evolve and level up there. Level up there is
level it up. I like it. Level it up.
Yes,
So yes, do you have anything planned? Any more shows coming up there to talk about your system, sir?
I have. I'm actually going to be on. I actually have like a tour to Hexastack. So give me a second. I know right now. I'm looking at being on, I believe, Highly Articulated.
Yes,
podcast on Sunday. Yep. I'll be on his podcast this upcoming Sunday, I believe. So on his stream, I'm also looking at, I believe, give me a second, I'll tell you, I got another one coming up with Dre the Geek Dad. Looking at doing something on Thursday the 4th at 8 p.m. on his stream. So getting out there with a few other people. So I've got those, YouTube shows that I'll be joining. And then obviously if there's anybody else that wants to have me on to spitball questions, talk about toys, talk about wrestling, we'll talk about Hexastack, I'd be more than glad to join their shows and pop in if needed. And additionally, obviously PowerCon coming up in August, I will be there. I will have a ton of stuff to show, chat with folks, hopefully I might have some giveaways that I know I'm going to have some giveaways that I'm going to do. So for those that are in attendance for PowerCon, you'll have the opportunity to win a starter pack. Each day I'll be raffling off a starter pack for those that spin by the booth, show that they're following my Instagram. Don't have to back anything. Obviously I'd love for you to back something, but have that opportunity to win some of the first Hexastack production quality box units, starter packs. And
I suppose PowerCon is not too far away there. Does it still fall within your Kickstarter time frame? Because of course you get a lot of traffic going past there, and you will no doubt have your info on the Kickstarter, so that would no doubt bring in more foot traffic.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have 50 days left on the Kickstarter. So it ends on, I think it's September 8th, if I have my dates correctly.
And that sounds about right.
PowerCon is August 11th, 12th, and 13th. So we'll be about halfway through the Kickstarter. So we should be at about 30 days or so with the Kickstarter live, and about halfway through the time period when we go to PowerCon. So I'm hoping to continue to truck along here over the next couple weeks, and then kind of on the journey to PowerCon. Once PowerCon comes, I really think once folks can see it in their hands, folks that never heard of me, never heard of the product, get an opportunity to see it. I think it's going to be I think coming out of PowerCon, we're going to have a strong showing, and we should be able to drive to the finish line pretty effectively.
So even if the Kickstarter doesn't reach your goal, will the amount that you have reached still put things in motion there for those that are backed?
Yeah, so my plan is that whether the Kickstarter comes or not, I want to hit the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is going to jumpstart the ability to produce at a factory level in the future. Regardless of the Kickstarter happening, people are buying these. everyone that has backed them is gonna. I get a backer list. I'll have the information. I think at least the majority of the information. So I'll reach out to them, and anyone who offered to back it, and tried to back it during the time, I will honor the Kickstarter pricing for the initial sale to them. And whatever they had priced out before, I will absolutely match that. Hopefully, we don't get to that point.
Well, I suppose the Kickstarter is not the end of it.
No,
you'll still work on it, and
yeah. I mean, I'm
try again or have other avenues to go down.
I have other avenues. Yeah, I absolutely have other avenues, as I alluded to.
Because, like you said, you're talking with Ramen Toy there, and a few
exactly.
other interested parties.
Yep, exactly. So one way or the other, folks are going to be able to get their hands on Hexastack. I'm hoping it's through the Kickstarter method because it just moves along faster. And that's the other thing I just want to call out, which I didn't say, is that, once Hexastack, backs and it ends, we're not talking about first quarter 2024, second quarter 2024. We're not even, it's technically fourth quarter 2023. My goal is to, this thing ends on September 8th. And my plan is to have the orders packed and shipped before the end of September, get them in hands no later than November is my goal. Obviously, if this thing blows up a ton, it may, trickle in, but I'm going to be pushing these out. And as you can see, like I'm already producing, quantity right now, and I've already got shelves of these, and they don't have the magnets in them yet, and I haven't gotten the color on the magnets yet, but those units are all being prepped up. The hard part's almost done. I'm making a ton of these and producing them, basically, recurring throughout the day. I've got a little factory down in the basement there that's just pumping these things out in the different sizes over the course. Exactly. So that's the thing, is I'm still moving it along. So those that are backing it, I really support you. I really appreciate your support, and I can ensure that, when whatever the outcome is, you'll have a product in your hand no later than November is my plan.
And as you say this, it all stacks up at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
And how about you, Adam, sir? Do you have any parting questions or comments? And also after that, tell us what you have on next.
Well, to start off, so does this is there a minimum order, like a minimum backer that you require, or is this going to be made regardless? Like, I'm just kind of get a feeling, because I know some Kickstarters don't succeed, so I'm just kind of wondering.
Yeah, I said this since day one when Hella Dope had me on and gave me the opportunity to speak to it and announce it. This is happening. There's enough support that, especially the fact that I've seen the support from others, there's enough folks out there that want this product, and there's enough of a market out there with people. Every toy that's sold, there's at least that's one stand that somebody could potentially use. So the market's out there. If the Kickstarter doesn't succeed and I don't move it forward, that means that I'm going to have buckets and buckets of stands. And while I have a ton of action figures, I don't think I have enough room to display them all.
Well, yes, as a Cobweb collector there said before, new Masterverse figures are showing up, a photo showing up from San Diego Comic-Con. So yes, you
preview night.
Need all that indeed.
Exactly. Yeah. So Adam, to answer your question, yes, Hexastack is a business and it will succeed with or without Kickstarter. I much so rather, see it go with Kickstarter, but I've got all the printing equipment downstairs. The Kickstarter comes, I may buy one or two more printers depending on how much the influx of backing occurs. And, because I still, regardless at the end of the day, I want to meet that deadline of making sure people have these in their hands in November. I don't want to be waiting around till December or January. So if I need to purchase more equipment, I can. I already have, there's 4 or 5, I already have 6 printers running right now. So
as you know, with 3D printing there, sometimes you get the old hiccups or the Wi-Fi blows a fuse. I believe like Hebrew had at one point, he was mid-print there. And yes, so it will be handy to have multiple machines working.
Yeah, no, there's yeah, I have multiple machines going. I have a bunch of flash drives. I'm going up and down the 3 flight of stairs, checking on equipment all day.
Be careful there, sir.
Thank you. I'm setting up the Wise cameras so that I can get a view into each of the units so that I can, while I'm working during the day on my 9 to 5, I can get a glimpse in to make sure the printers are working and there's nothing.
Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly.
It's always a good thing.
All right, cool. All right.
Awesome.
And
okay, Adam. Yes. Carry on. What have you got up next?
I just got my live stream coming up here in just less than an hour. Well, actually, just in an hour now. So we got that coming up. We got lots of different products coming up that we're going to be doing. We're going to be covering Mattel Creations this Friday for the motherboard. So we're going to be covering her. I always drop that 1 hour before it actually drops, so we get in discussions and things like that. So we got that covering, and lots of time lapse arts on their way.
Awesome.
Oh, I see that
Got a
you're
lot of
very
that
good at that, sir. The old,
Yeah,
drawing
they're fun to do.
That's another thing. You can Hexastack all your little drawings there. You may do little pint-size sketches and have you all them set up on a bit of a Hexastack there with the card stands.
Laminate them and put them right on that card stand. Looking good.
That's another idea you could expand
That'd be
into
cool.
a gift shops there, and then they have all the different art pieces or something on the stands, or even little ornaments for sale. Because usually, normally as a display, it's always flash, and you can't see what's behind the next thing, and so forth.
Just gotta get my foot in the door. That's it.
That's it. Alrighty.
Awesome.
That's it.
We're going to close shop there, as it were. And thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
It's been Mr. Wonderful to have you on there today. And I've dropped all your links and so forth. I believe there.
Thank you so
this
much.
Video as well as where to follow Adam there.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, thanks,
So
guys.
yes, sir. Best of luck there in your endeavors, Travis. And
thank you so much.
Hoping the Kickstarter kicks you off in the right direction there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you everyone in the chat for following along, and make sure you like and subscribe over here to Eldar. Awesome dude, always in the chats, always supporting everyone. So make sure you give this guy a like. Same thing for Radical Toys there. Adam's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
And where can people follow you there, Mr. Wonderful, sir?
Yeah, the best place to follow me is the Mr. Wonderful, spelled the way it is on the screen here in front of you, on Instagram. That'll lead you over to my Hexastack and everything. If you're just looking for the Kickstarter and you don't want to deal with me directly, hexa-stack.com. Thanks, Skyfall.
Are you on the old YouTube also, or you just?
I don't do a lot on the YouTube. I like talking, but you guys put so much work into these shows and stuff, and I love joining as a guest and being able to chat for a little bit. But I kind of like the bouncing around from show to show, so I'm just trying to keep that alive. If I can get folks to pull me from one to the other,
as you do.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
Yep. Well, what comes naturally. All this stuff will come later, I suppose.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, yes, sir.
Okay.
Without further ado, I think yes, we'll sign off there. And
Okay, take care,
until
guys.
next time, good journey,
Thanks, dudes.
everybody.